The human brain is a remarkable organ. It allows us to communicate in complex languages, to learn complex tasks, to study the environment around us, and to develop amazing technologies. But if the development of the human brain is so successful, then why hasn't something similar developed in other species, like the chimpanzee? Though our brain weighs about 1.5 kilograms, it is composed of 90 billion neurons. To put this into perspective, an elephant's brain weighs approximately 6 kilograms, yet has only 23 billion neurons. The fact that we have such a high density of neurons suggests that, like other primates, we have evolved a way to increase the amount of neurons without increasing the size of each individual neuron. Though it accounts for only 2% of our body weight, it consumes approximately 25% of our daily calories, making it the most costly organ we have. Despite this, human brain size has increased greatly since early hominins, from a volume of 450 to 1350 cubic centimeters in modern humans. However, large vertebrates such as whales and elephants exceed the human brain in terms of absolute size. More meaningful data can be derived from what is known as the encephalization quotient. The EQ is calculated by the brain size of a given species over the expected brain size based on a standard species of the same taxon. In this perspective, humans have the highest EQ of around 7.5, meaning that the human brain is 7.5 times larger than expected, followed by some dolphin species with EQs of around 5. Descent with modification refers to the passing on of characteristics from parents to their offspring which gradually change over time. Traits are passed down in what is called genes that hold information about the organism such as eye color, relative size, and development. In the case of organisms that sexually reproduce, the genes are recombined and mixed to create even greater changes. These small but significant changes plus spontaneous mutations bring about variations among individuals, and those who are better suited for their environment survive to reproduce. In this case, those that are tall enough to reach the pantry. As a consequence, variation in the population continues to change over time, which results in evolution. The evolution of the human brain is subject to the same laws and as a result has changed to help us better survive. For instance, early chordates, your ancestors, had a primitive system of nerve cells which was continually modified through descent with modification over several 100 million years, resulting in the many diverse cortexes and structures we see today. Animals have evolved several strategies to combat starvation. Two of these include a larger brain and large fat reserves in proportion to their bodies. A larger brain allows one to learn ways to escape starvation, while fat storages are used when in starvation. However, these two processes are negatively correlated. This is further exemplified in this figure showing adipose deposits on the y-axis and brain mass on the x-axis. Bats and hedgehogs generally have more adipose tissue and a lower brain mass, and carnivores such as lions and canines possess a larger brain and less fat. This inverse relationship is believed to be due to moving the extra body mass in animals that have a high cost of transport such as birds. Humans, for example, are the exemption and are able to combine both strategies of having fat reserves and a larger brain volume. One reason is due to the evolution of bipedalism, which became a more efficient method of transportation, reducing the amount of energy needed to get from one point to another. But that still doesn't explain the whole story. What allows us to have an unexpectedly large brain that consumes 25% of our daily calories? The answer is in our diet. Consider this. On a regular primate diet of raw foods eating 8 hours a day, as several non-human primates do, an animal that has 53 billion neurons can only afford to weigh 25 kilograms, and one that has 30 billion neurons can only afford to weigh 75 kilograms. Humans have 90 billion neurons and yet weigh 70 kilograms. How then? It was the discovery of fire which allowed early hominins to cook their food, which released valuable energy and nutrients that otherwise would never be able to be absorbed in the digestive system. This is believed to have originated around the time of Homo erectus and allowed the huge increase in brain volume in response to selection. After larger brains were able to develop due to a stabilized high-energy input created by cooking food, allowing more variation in brain size, several positive selective pressures was imposed to the individuals with a larger brain. One of the strong drivers was the advantage of increased social behavior. Comparative analysis of non-human primates showed that the social group size is positively correlated with the size of the neocortex in the brain, suggesting that the size of certain parts of the brain has a strong relationship in enhancing social behavior. The social brain hypothesis suggests that this enhanced social behavior offered a great advantage to certain ancestral hominids. According to Dr. Richard Alexander, as they started to use biological resources more efficiently by hunting and cooking, the main selective pressures shifted from ecological ones to social ones. Sufficient resources enabled them to support a larger population size, which was beneficial as it reduced the mortality of individual members through protection and education and decreased competition within species. Social individuals were able to possess higher fitness and pass down their social genes to their offspring. Unfortunately, increased social behavior and intense processing of our food has allowed us to become lethargic and get even more calories than we currently need, and as a result, a large proportion of individuals have become obese. Dr. Herculana Housel states that the answer to this increased weight gain is in the raw foods we began with millions of years ago.